Operation Mersad, from the Persian word meaning ambush, was the last major military operation of the Iran-Iraq War, ending in a decisive victory for Iran. The operation involved a successful counterattack against a July 1988 military incursion from Iraq by a military force of about 7,000 members of the Mujahideen-e-Khalq. The MEK soldiers were armed, equipped and given air support by Iraq, led by Lt. General Ali Syed Shirazi. Operation Mersad began on the 26th of July 1988 and lasted only a few days, where the Iranian armed forces crushed the MEK in what was the last military operation of any significance of the war. Both Iran and Iraq had accepted United Nations Security Council Resolution 598, which would end the war on the 20th of July 1988. However, shortly thereafter the Iraqi-supported Mujahideen-e-Khalq militant group attacked central Iran. The attack was decisively defeated by the Iranian military. Prelude. After almost 8 years of bloody warfare, the Iran-Iraq War was coming to an end under the United Nations Security Council Resolution 598, which was passed the 20th of July 1987. Iran had suffered major defeats in southern Iraq during the Second Battle of Al-Faw and Operation Tawak al-Nurayla, and had decided to accept the UN ceasefire. However, made confident by recent Iraqi victories, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein decided to violate the ceasefire agreement and let the MEK launch an invasion of Iran itself. The attack agreed upon by the Iraqi leadership would be a two-pronged assault. Another group would attack forces in Iranian and Iraqi Kurdistan, the latter areas still within Iranian and Peshmerga hands. When the Iranian armies moved to fight that in Kurdistan, the renegade Iranian militant group the Mujahideen-e-Khalq, supported by Iraqi air power, would launch a large-scale incursion into the central portion of Iran, aiming towards the heart of Iran. The MEK under their leader Masoud Rajavi harbored the hope that the attack would lead to a general uprising against the Islamic government of Ayatollah Khomeini. Rajavi would lead the Mujahideen with Iraqi support in an attack on the western borders of Iran. MEK launches Operation Farah Javidan. On the 26th of July 1988, the MEK, with the support of the Iraqi military, started their campaign, Operation Farah Javidan, in central Iran. The Mujahideen worked with the Iraqi Air Force, advancing towards Kermanshah. With few Iranian troops in the field, the MEK advanced very rapidly, seizing and destroying the towns of Qasr-e-Sharan, Sarpal-e-Zahib, Karan-e-Garb, and Islamabad-e-Garb, and pushing towards the provincial capital city of Kermanshah. The Mujahideen expected the Iranian population to rise up and support their advance. However, the uprising never materialized. Except for an Iranian Kurdish resistance, the Mujahideen drove through unopposed, pushing 145 kilometers deep into Iran. Iran's Kurdish fighters did manage to slow the Iraqi-supported Mujahideen advance, allowing time for the Iranians to prepare their counter-offensive. Iran did not launch an immediate attack against the Mujahideen. Instead, they waited until they had advanced beyond the range of effective Iraqi air cover. The MEK continued to advance, reaching as far as 145 kilometers deep into Iran, and the road to Tehran seemed to be wide open. At this point, the Iranian military launched its counter-attack, Operation Mersad, under Lieutenant General Ali Syed Shirazi. The Iranians had achieved local air superiority as a consequence of their strategy of temporarily giving ground. Iranian paratroopers landed behind the overstretched MEK lines while Iranian Air Force F-4 Phantoms bombed the Mujahideen vehicles on the Kermanshah highway. Afterwards, helicopters launched an air attack using anti-tank missiles. By this time, most of the enemy armor was destroyed. In a miniature version of the Highway of Death during the Persian Gulf War, the MEK advance had been abruptly and completely halted. The Iranian Army and Revolutionary Guard then moved north from Khuzestan, encircling and suppressing the remaining resistance in the city of Kerandy Garb on 29 July 1988. On 31 July, Iran drove MEK forces out of Qasr-e Shirin and Salpal-Zahab, though the MEK claimed to have voluntarily withdrawn from the towns. Iran estimated that 4,500 Mujahideen soldiers were killed, while 400 Iranian soldiers died. The Iranian successes during Operation Mersad were partially due to their decision to establish a unified command structure and permanently quash the differences between the army and the Revolutionary Guard. Aftermath. Under pressure from other Arab states, Saddam and MEK did not launch any more attacks on Iran. Operation Mersad was the last battle of the Iran-Iraq War. The last notable combat actions of the war took place on 3 August 1988. In the Persian Gulf, when the Iranian Navy fired on a freighter and Iraq launched chemical attacks on Iranian civilians, killing an unknown number of them and wounding 2,300. Both sides eventually withdrew to the international border in the coming weeks, with Resolution 598 becoming effective on 8 August 1988, ending all combat operations between the two countries. 102. By 20 August 1988, peace with Iran was restored. UN peacekeepers belonging to the UNIIMOG mission took the field, remaining on the Iran-Iraq border until 1991. While the war was now over, Iraq spent the rest of August and early September clearing the Kurdish resistance. Using 60,000 troops along with helicopter gunships, chemical weapons, and mass executions, Iraq hit 15 villages, killing rebels and civilians, and forced tens of thousands of Kurds to relocate to forced settlements. 99. Many Kurdish civilians immigrated to Iran. By 3 September 1988, the anti-Kurd campaign ended, and all resistance had been crushed. 99. 400 Iraqi soldiers and 50,000 Kurdish civilians and soldiers had been killed, at least in part as a response to the invasion. Iran executed several thousand political prisoners across the country for treason, mainly members of the MEK, but even also some members of the Tudeh party and other opposition groups. The estimates for number of executions vary from as little as 1,400 to as high as 12,000. The most likely number was given by dissident Ayatollah Hussein Ali Montazeri, as being between 3,800 and 4,500. The death toll may have been higher for those MEK executed by frontline court-martials or dying in prison. Bibliography. Farrokh, Kaveh. Iran at War, 1500 to 1988. Osprey Publishing. p. 609. ISBN 978-1-78096-221-4. The Lessons of Modern War, Volume 2, The Iran-Iraq War, May, 1990 to 9005. Lessons Iran-Iraqi iChap 10.pdf. Retrieved 10 October 2014.